If you're currently working in corporate America and you have an ambition to buy a small business, to buy your own business, you are probably of the mindset that you're ready to go. You've got years of management experience, training, you're used to working on large scale projects, and you have years of experience in your field. Here's the truth. Owning and operating a small business is very different from a corporate environment. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend. She's a senior executive at a global organization. And we were discussing this concept. We were just chatting about how there's a movement now towards corporate employees or management level people looking to buy businesses from baby boomers. And it's a great solution because the baby boomers need to retire and sell their businesses. And why not, right? Why continue to work for somebody else when you can work for yourself and build something for your family? But the problem is, and this is how my friend explained it to me, she said that you will currently have in a corporate environment unlimited resources of processes and procedures, people. You won't have budgetary restraints because this is a big company. Things will be set up in a way that you're not reacting to things and trying to fix things all the time. There's no growth pains. There may be within your department, but you still have resources to deal with that. Whereas in a small business, she referred to a small business as she sees it as a community business. And I thought that was a pretty good way to look at it because it really is a small community of people that come together. And as we compared notes, I was telling her that many of the small businesses that I work with, the owners, maybe they have lunch on Tuesdays and there's a certain time of year where the owner's wife comes in. She doesn't work at the company, but she'll come in and she'll make food or she'll bring pies, or they just have these sort of non-professional traditions that the employees are used to. And this may have been happening for decades. It's like a double-edged sword for you. It's going to be exciting for the employees that you are coming in, and you're going to be giving them tools and resources like new software. They won't have to do things manually. You'll have SEO, you'll have marketing, you're going to grow. That's exciting, but something that I've realized and I've learned is that even though they're excited about the future and they're happy that their boss got to retire, there's a period of time where they actually really miss them and they miss how things were done. And of course, things have to change. I get that. But I think it's something that you're going to want to be really aware of. And my friend and I were talking about how can somebody be hypersensitive to that while obviously still having to get the work done. And she was suggesting, and I agree, she was suggesting just keeping things the same as much as possible so that you can do the work that you need to do, but also make sure that the employees have a sense of, because for them, what's going to feel secure and stable is what they're used to. And that's going to be much more personal than it would be in a big company. And those were the takeaways that we had. As far as systems go, she and I talked about this. I think if you've looked at a business to buy, you'll know that this is true, but the systems are typically going to be in the owner's head and also in the employee's head. Most training will be 2 days of shadowing and then ask questions when you get stuck. So I think I also would, through my due diligence, try to dive deeper into that because you're going to be focusing on the financials, the legal, all the risk assessment, the licensing that needs to happen, financing, quality of earnings, all of that stuff. But the piece that you may miss is this piece, and you'll only find this out post-closing. And it may be something that you're not in tune with, so you may not actually be aware of it. And the employees won't tell you. They're not used to speaking up. They're used to just getting on with it and making sure that things happen as they need to. I had a business previously where we grew to a decent size. It was still a small business, but I hired a couple of people that were from the corporate world, and they were fantastic for the business. They were great in their departments to help those departments grow. But they did let me know, they were honest enough to tell me that at times it was really hard for them because they were used to, they weren't used to the growing pains. They weren't used to the reactionariness. It's not a real word, but Just the constant, it was a little bit chaotic. And even though we had them on board and we were trying to not be chaotic, it's just part of the process because people are wearing many hats and you have to move at the pace that the business is growing. So it's like having a teenager. That's painful. You have teenagers at home, or we've all been teenagers. So you know what and that's how I would look at your small business when you take it over. It's going to be like having a grumpy teenager at home. Yeah. I guess that's one way of looking at it, but it'll give you a more of a personal way to think about it. So another quick takeaway before I wrap this up, I would also try to I think I've said this before in other videos, but I would also try to get some processes written down pretty quickly. Have your employees document their jobs as soon as you take over, or maybe even as part of your due diligence, ask the owner if they can document what they do. The owners, just get something written down so that you have a framework to build on. And you're not just leaning on that 80 hours or 2 weeks that come with the acquisition that the owner gives you, because once you own the business, you're going to be in the weeds. And so having some sort of a transition plan in place, I think would be really helpful. So I hope this is helpful. If you are looking for a business to buy, I would say this is a pretty great time. And I think being somebody younger than the baby boomers looking to transition in, I know that I personally have heard that they like that. Many of them prefer that to just strictly having an investor come in. They like the idea of handing over to somebody that's going to own it and operate and keep things going. So good luck.